Today is May 1st, 2023. My name is Rob Carter of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, a few things today. First, have you noticed that the pro-abortion people always seem to be angry? At least that's how I perceive things. You know, when a baby is not aborted, these people get angry. When a pregnancy care center saves a baby's life, rescues a mom, they get upset about it. You know, they immediately attack the clinic for being a fake clinic, because the only reason that clinic exists, from their point of view, is to lie and deceive women. That's all they're good for. So these people are angry when a baby is saved. When a pro-life bill is enacted, they get angry. When a pro-life politician is elected, they get angry and they get mad. Well, I saw in livenews.com this morning that the pro-abortion zealots seem to be taking their anger to a new level. It's just a new twist, let's say. They have appealed, or they try to appeal, to the stockholders of Coca-Cola to stop selling Coke products in conservative pro-life states that have passed strong pro-life laws. So how did that go over? Well, not too well. According to this pro-life website, 87% of the shareholders voted no, or they voted down this proposal to ban Coke products from being sold in places like Oklahoma and Texas and Florida and Kansas and, Utah, some of these good pro-life states. 87% said no. And, I got to thinking, when a person buys stock, typically, it's for a variety of reasons, but typically they want to see a return for their money. It's a business transaction. It's a business deal. People are not necessarily buying or selling stock based on ideology or on politics. They like a product. They want to buy some shares of stock. They want to see their portfolio grow. It's not difficult to understand that it's a business deal. And most shareholders buy stock in companies not necessarily based on the ideological bent of the CEO. Now, yeah, that is true to a certain extent, especially in companies, that are heavily invested in one cause or another. But generally speaking, shareholders stay away from politics. They just want to see their stock grow. That's what they want. That's what they want. Okay. I saw in the news this morning, too, that on Friday, April 28th, pro-abortion doctor, the long-time pro-abortionist, Dr. Leroy Carhart, has passed away at the age of 81. Now, if the name Leroy Carhart is not familiar, well, maybe you need to look him up a little bit more, because his name is on two prominent Supreme Court cases that deal with abortion. Back in 1999, the state of Nebraska passed a law banning partial birth abortions in that state. And Leroy Carhart, who owned and operated a late-term abortion clinic in Nebraska, filed a lawsuit challenging the law. And in the year 2000, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in his favor and declared that the Nebraska law was unconstitutional. So he won. You're won in round one. But then in 2003, President George W. Bush signed the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act into law. And Carhart came out of the woodwork again and challenged the law in federal court. And in 2007, a different, more conservative configured Supreme Court ruled against him. The Supreme Court ruled that the federal partial birth abortion bill was constitutional. So Dr. Carhart lost that case. And, sometimes people do really, really dumb things when they get mad, when they get angry, when they get frustrated. And Leroy Carhart was one of those few pro-abortion doctors who really upset some of the more unhinged, crazy, extremist wing, if you want to call that, of the pro-life movement. And back in 1991, this is to our shame. I mean, and I'm not going to say that it was a pro-life person that did it, because I don't think a genuinely pro-life person would do this. But in 1991, some person or persons burned down his barn. Apparently he lived in rural Nebraska. They burned down his barn, and in the process, the fire killed 17 horses and a dog and a cat. But 17 horses were killed in that fire. Now that is criminal. That is not how a person should respond to. I don't care how heinous of an abortionist Leroy Carhart was. He did not deserve, or especially his horses, did not deserve to be slaughtered and killed in a fire. That was a criminal act. And to their shame, pro-lifers probably did that in retaliation for his second and third trimester abortion practice. Because, there's no beating around the bush. Carhart was a killer. He was a killer of late-term babies, 28, 30, 32-week gestational age babies. These are viable babies he killed. So, I'm not weeping for him today. I am not. He has to face his maker today, and face the consequences for his 50-year abortion practice. Leroy Carhart is no more. Okay. Next item. 3 women have died or did die from abortion complications in 2022 in the state of Indiana alone. And of those 3, the pro-abortion people are saying how abortion is safe, it's safer than childbirth, it's safer than pregnancy. Well, 3 women died from abortion. And of those 3, 2 of them actually died from chemical abortions, from taking mifepristone. So maybe this Judge Kaczmarek was right after all in denying the FDA the right to have that drug sold in pharmacies all across the country. Now things are on hold, and the Supreme Court has temporarily allowed mifepristone to be sold. But women have died taking mifepristone. So we'll see how that case develops. Last item. We're coming down to the wire here. Right to Life, Kalamazoo Right to Life's Focus on Life dinner, May 11th, 2023. It's in about a week and a half. If you want to go to the dinner, you barely have time to get a reservation. You do have time. We have to give the caterer about a week's notice so he can prepare the number of meals. But there is time. But that window is narrowing very quickly. If you want to make a reservation for the dinner, please call our Right to Life number 269-615-2411. And we will take your name. We will take your information. You can pay at the door. That's not a problem. But if you do want to come, whether you get a one seat or two, or you buy a table for eight people, there is room, but you must act quickly. With that, I will let you go, and I will see you next time.